Welcome to the Spoilers of the Damned podcast. Spoilers of the Damned podcast. Let's rock. That's my attempt at Let's Rock backwards, as all of you guys will remember from the last cast. It's pretty good. It's close enough.
That sounds really good, actually.
It sounds like I'm taking a huge intake of breath at the end there. It's because I'm trying to produce a sound backwards, and that's just not possible. Hello, and welcome, everyone, to the Spoilers of the Damned Twin Peaks sidecast.
Hello.
God knows if I can remember what number episode we're on. I think it might be 8. But
yes, I think
we're talking today about episodes 12 and 13 of The Return. We skipped last week because we weren't really fans of last week.
No.
Is that fair enough to say?
Yes, last week was the only thing that we could really talk about. The only good moments of the show, I think the podcast probably would have lasted like 12 minutes.
See, the thing is, I don't know why I was on the Twin Peaks subreddit before I'd watched the episode, but maybe I was just being a bit foolhardy. I'd heard that there was a lot of hype going up to this episode, although apparently that seemed to be completely manufactured. So, I thought, okay, well, I better check and just see if the hype is real. Like, if there are loads of, like, oh my god, posts on there, I don't have to see what's in them, but I know that something big's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I ended up kind of seeing that the reaction to the episode, a lot of the thread titles were things like, look, we mustn't be disappointed, and stuff like this. So I thought, okay,
let's just be logical.
check my expectations at the door, and that kind of made it a bit less shit for me. But it was still a bit shit.
Yeah, it was a real. It was. I think it was one of the few times. I mean, the whole series hasn't exactly been perfect. It's had its moments where it's felt a bit fillerish, but I think last week's in particular felt like it was just meandering along a bit. Yeah.
And as such, well, what I suggest we do today then is, because we're talking about episode 12 and 13 combined, what I've done is I've taken all of the plot points from both episodes. Mm-hmm. I've kind of grouped relevant plot points together, so, threads that feature the same characters are kind of together, and we kind of tackle them. I've put them in shit first all the way to best, in my subjective opinion.
That's fine by me.
So, even though I love him, we're going to start with Dr. Amp. We had in episode 12, and this is an example of the padding you're talking about, an almost shot-for-shot identical rant to the one that we had previously.
Yes.
Although I did like this rant more because there was more use of the word fuck, basically. They're fucking us, they fuck us here. It was beautiful. I loved it. I'm not quite sure why we were subjected to another one.
Because
almost with the same shots and everything.
Yeah, including his little infomercial for his golden shovels as well.
Yeah,
really weird.
Still as a very good, probably one of the best Alex Jones parodies I've ever seen. But still kind of questionable taking up so much time. And of course, I've got here coupled the scene in episode 13. We saw Nadine and Dr. Jacoby meet for the first time in apparently 7 years.
Yeah, it was, again, really, really weird and
such a strange, sort of non sequitur, just like a random little piece of stuff happening that we're kind of sat there going, why? What relevance does this have?
Sat there and it's nice to see like those two characters like interacting, I guess, but don't care.
Well, yeah, especially given her reverence for him and kind of like hanging on his every broadcast.
Yeah.
I have seen some interesting theories.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Maybe it's just people trying to justify these scenes. But a lot of people have been saying that perhaps Dr. Jacoby never stopped practicing, and this is actually a form of therapy for his clients, Nadine being one of them, which is plausible. The whole Dr. Amp thing, trying to, make people latch on to, fuck the system and make people feel better. Maybe. Although he's still selling shovels.
For quite a high price.
Yeah, and also he hasn't seen Nadine in 7 years, so I can't quite understand.
That's a very good point, actually.
Surely there's got to be a conventional therapy session at one point during that 7 years. Yeah. I'm not sure how much grains of salt are kind of to be gleaned from that, but it was interesting, so I thought I'd chuck it in there. Okay, moving on. Now this might upset some people, but I've got to get it off my chest. Audrey Horne, I don't care.
Well, because the problem is that I've seen people like the apologists, because they always do it. You always get those fans that go, no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And like, yeah, it is. And I saw them saying, well, obviously she's going to play a bigger part in this because they wouldn't have brought her back. Otherwise, like, have you seen what they've been doing with some of the other characters? God knows I'm excited to find out what happens to Norma and her chain of double R diners. Also, I wouldn't mind so much.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it's taken this long for her to come back. And to do it in that kind of scene as well. I mean, we can get into. I mean, episode 13. Her scene then was a bit more interesting because of some of the things she was saying.
Yes.
But the episode 12 was just didn't stop.
I
want you to stop.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. There's a fine kind of like when you can feel David Lynch harvesting the Garmin Bosia from you. That scene, and you said, no, actually it's 10 minutes. I was like, oh, okay, it just felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah, the whole time I'm just like, okay, it's are we going to do... no, you're still talking, you're still very uncharacteristically whining. Okay, that's weird.
I was just going to quickly recap for the people who might not know which scene we're talking about. It's the one where she's demanding that her quote unquote husband Charlie helps her find Billy, who apparently seems to be her missing lover or sort of other partner.
Yeah, it's so confusing. I mean, it's confusing, but it just it did a thing that has just bugged me at times. Like the second half of the series has really bugged me. Is stop introducing new characters this late.
Yeah,
please stop.
It is a problem. And what I liked about the scene is I liked the fact that we just cut straight to Audrey Horne. There was no kind of preamble, because there are a lot of people saying, she's, like you said, those apologists that say she's got to have an important role. When will Audrey show up? And I love the fact that we just cut to her and it's no big deal.
She's like, it's Audrey.
Yeah, David's just like, MBD, don't worry about it. Here's Audrey. Here's a 10-minute scene where, she's acting very strangely. She's married, supposedly, contractually, to some strange little man. Yeah. And by the way, we're going to make you hang on for 3 or 4 minutes while he has a phone call that he then doesn't reveal any of the contents to us. When the scene actually ended and we cut to something else, that's when I started laughing.
I was like, oh, you've done it again, David.
You made me give a shit about this conversation, and at the start I just did not.
But I think the problem with that scene as well is because we've crashed with his Audrey, like, oh cool, we're 12 episodes in and here's one of the characters that everyone's looking forward to seeing, like one of them, the most out of everyone, besides Coop and so I was really looking forward to seeing Audrey again, because what's she getting up to now? How did she survive the explosion? And then we've got this 10-minute scene of her complaining and whining and has been hysterical to a character we've never met before, talking about characters we've never met before. And I don't know how I'm supposed to care. And what they did better in episode 13 is when she says, I know we're skipping ahead, but we have another scene with them.
No, that's okay. That was going to be up next because it's the next kind of plot point with those characters.
But what's good is how because she says something like, I don't know who I am anymore, where I am, and I can't leave.
Yeah.
And then Charlie says, don't make me end your story.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking, like, that's far more interesting than anything that you said last week.
Yes, and it plays into I say the number. There's at least 2 that I know of fan theories as to what this is all about. Have you heard those?
No.
Oh, well, theory number 1. Obviously, we learned from I can't remember the doctor's name, but the elderly doctor who Sheriff Truman spoke to on his cool Skype wooden computer.
Doc Hayward.
Doc Hayward, that's it, said that Audrey was in the hospital in a coma. Well, a lot of people are positing that Audrey is still in the coma, and we are kind of witnessing a kind of Mind Palace-esque, kind of conversation
I was thinking something similar actually. Just with the exchange this week, I was thinking, maybe they are going that way.
They definitely turned up the strangeness this week.
And it was far more unsettling. I was like, this is better.
It was, yeah. Mainly because she's all over the place. She doesn't seem to understand what's going on, and like you said, she doesn't know who or where she is, and that she can't leave the house. So, lots of people kind of saying that. The other main theory is that she is somehow, because I didn't know until this series began, that Mulholland Drive was supposedly a spin-off when it began life as a kind of Audrey Horne Goes to Hollywood-esque story.
I've heard that, yeah, that apparently it did start off like that, but then obviously it changed and morphed into its own thing.
Yeah, so many people are also saying that they think that perhaps she is in some kind of acting role, either what we're seeing is her acting out story as an actress, or that this is behind the scenes and she is an actress. The only things that kind of the one major thing that springs to mind to me that makes that kind of a bit poo-pooed is that she mentions the Roadhouse in the first episode. So that to me kind of rules that out. She would know about the Roadhouse even if she was in a coma and had been since the end of season 2. So that kind of fits.
Exactly, and what was really unsettling was when she was talking about the Roadhouse, and Charlie was saying, "You know where the Roadhouse is?" And she's like, "I don't know what's going on," because she's like,
I didn't notice at the time, but someone, those clever folks over on Reddit pointed out. He says at one point in that conversation, "I don't have a crystal ball," and apparently there is one right on the table. You can see
I've
it.
Seen the picture. Wait a minute, you've not found it.
Yeah.
Stop lying.
Well, anyway, we'll see how that develops. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a cliche for her to be in a coma, but at the same time, it would make sense story-wise.
Yeah.
And this whole idea of kind of characters coming back, the whole series seems to be based around those 2 words, the return. We're seeing characters have to struggle to get back to where they were, or to come full circle. So we'll find out. Next plot point, and sort of. This is stuff that I don't mind. It's just kind of perfunctory, just stuff that needs to happen to move the plot along. So Chantal and Hutch, the assassins who are working with Mr. C, they managed to assassinate Warden Murphy, which is fine. They're talking about, like, I can't remember if it was like Burger King or KFC or something.
They're talking about something nonsensical. I mean, the whole episode felt like just people just talking. Yeah,
just spinning the wheels a bit. Just kind of.
Yeah, you're right. Like spinning the wheels, and also like we didn't need to see them kill him. Like I don't care about Warden Murphy. I don't care.
And it's kind of one of those things where if Mr. C says you're going to go kill Warden Murphy and then you're going to go to Las Vegas, we can kind of see them kind of turn up in Las Vegas or hear Mr. C get a phone call and going, good, he's dead or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need, what was that scene, like 3 minutes, I guess? It wasn't a huge amount of the runtime, but again, the word I keep coming back to is perfunctory. They're just kind of things that we knew were going to happen, and so they happen. and they don't really kind of move anything along that much. They just kind of, they serve the plot. And that's shown by the scene in episode 13 where they're driving through Utah. So my US geography is not great, but I'm pretty sure that means they're on their way to Las Vegas. So
they're probably on their way there.
What else have I got here? Okay, so here's where I've put the legendary James Hurley. How did you feel about this little surprise? James Hurley playing his hometown of Twin Peaks.
So I was midway through watching the episode, and it was just after it was just after the arm wrestling scene, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. And my aunt messages me saying, "Have you watched Twin Peaks yet?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm part way through. I've just watched the part where Mr. C shows freak strength because he's doppelganger for some reason.
Because doppelganger.
Yeah, which I want to talk about because this is very confusing. But and she's like, "Oh, okay." So I'm thinking, "Oh, that's not the scene she's talking about." Oh, cool. What's coming up? And then we go to the Roadhouse.
Because she wants your reaction.
Yeah, we go to the Roadhouse. And they're like, "Oh, please welcome on stage." I'm like, "Oh, who are they going to have?"
It's that little dude again.
Like, hey, James Hurley. No. And I knew as soon as I said James Hurley, no.
You knew what it was going to be. Yeah, me too.
I audibly let out a very faint, no, please.
My wife hadn't managed to put two and two together until the vocals started, but I was just sitting there grinning, and she's like, "What?" I'm like, "James Hurley," and she's like,
"Oh no,
wait a minute," and then just
no,
starts.
No,
this is a just you and I free zone.
They know everyone hates that song because it's just it is literally like one of the worst things in the entire show.
I saw today that they've uploaded that performance by itself onto YouTube.
No, they're fucking worse.
You can go watch it anytime you like.
Well, you wanted the old James. So you wanted James Hurley back, and you wanted the old Twin Peaks. Here you go. Not that Twin Peaks.
I had a big grin on my face the whole time through, but then halfway through I noticed that he wasn't even playing the guitar. He's just miming.
It's because
you can tell because he's not quite strumming the chord changes perfectly.
It's because the character had that car accident. Remember?
Oh yeah, James has always been.
Yeah,
cool.
He's never been the same. Yeah, well, that explains the fact that he decided that was a good idea to play that song at the Roadhouse.
Everyone was into it as well.
Yeah,
they're
like, they're only clapping just because, like, yay, well, cheer on the
hometown hero.
cheer him on. He's got brain damage. He still thinks that Donna and Maddie are in his. He thinks
they're on stage.
He thinks this is Donna's living room. Like, oh, where am I? Where are these people going to do?
Yeah, and apparently, the girl that he was either he had a look at or whatever, and all the way back in episode 1 or episode 2, she's loving it.
Yeah, and she starts getting upset,
crying and everything.
I'm like, oh, cool. There's another character I don't care about.
Apparently, her name is Renee. I know that because I've read the plot synopsis.
Good for Renee. Now maybe she can fuck off. There is a lot of that where it's just, hey, here's a character doing something. Right, they're not seen again.
Well, James, as far as I'm aware, he didn't even have dialogue in episode 1. So this is his first dialogue.
Oh no, I think he spoke to the guy who came in who was like, pretty cool place, huh?
Oh yeah.
Right, it's a good line, James. It's good.
My bad.
Is it supposed to be like some kind of like meta joke that that they didn't have anything for him in season 2 and that's why he fucked off? So he comes in and is like, it's a cool place, huh? Like, we don't have anything for you. Come back and sing the song and fuck off again.
Or at least we haven't written you a, weird older lady, like, adultery plot line thing.
Oh god, that poor bastard. I feel so sorry for that fucking actor.
Yeah.
Poor James Marshall. He's going to be at the festival. But, it'd be cool.
Yes, he is, isn't he?
I'm going to request he doesn't sing the song. So don't you fucking dare. They're booing. No,
well, I like the fact that they can kind of acknowledge, the meme quality of that song and kind of play with it a bit.
The Betty.
It's just like I was saying to you before the cast. There's a picture I've got. It's a screenshot from Fire Walk with Me. You've seen it,
Yes.
Which is it's where David Lynch is doing one of the kind of hand signs when he's is it the character Lil, the woman who comes. Yeah, that's it. Who comes on and gives Chet Desmond all the clues. Still crossing my fingers for Chet Desmond, by the way.
Come on, bring him back.
I really want him to show up somehow. But yeah, it's David Lynch with his hand kind of in front of his eyes, kind of like doing a weird motion, and it's got Lynch written on it. And I've realised that perhaps using the word lynched on Facebook isn't the best idea, because not everyone will understand what I'm talking about. But I've been using that picture, and that seems to sum up to me putting James Hurley on at the Roadhouse.
I think you can use that for the entire, like, pretty much 90% of episode 12 as well.
Yeah, I was thinking, and that Audrey scene, that was lynched.
Yeah, and we're also missing the one that actually has David Lynch in himself, where they was like...
Yes, we're going to get on to that.
Oh, was that next?
No, it's not next, believe it or not. Well, for some reason, there are a couple of things in those scenes that made it kind of bump up the list for me. So far we've had Dr. Amp and Nadine, we've had Audrey, we've had the Assassins, and we've had James. So now, getting on to in Twin Peaks, we see that Big Ed, and thank God for Big Ed.
Yeah.
I was starting to get worried he wasn't going to show up. Again, just kind of nonchalantly sitting there, like nothing's happened for the past, 12, 13 episodes. Having dinner with Norma, and then he and Bobby move because Norma is meeting with Walter, who apparently seems to be her kind of boyfriend, I guess.
So I'm like, oh, cool.
But also franchise business partner person.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know what he is, but he's like a financier, or he works for like a company that's helping her start it up. But yeah, he turned up, and my reaction was, oh, get another character.
Oh boy. I felt kind of sad for Big Ed, because it seems like Big Ed, unless it's revealed he's with Nadine, he didn't get with either of them in the end. He's just kind of on his own, which is sad.
Yeah, like I mean, again, we're skipping right to the end of the episode, but the credits just roll up as he's sat in Big Ed's gas station on his own.
Yep, drinking soup and burning paper.
So, yay, Big Ed's depressed. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
I feel like, so he's like, oh cool, Big Ed's back. And he's like, come on Bobby, let's fuck off so this new character can come in. No, don't. I'd rather hear what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Come on.
Incidentally, I think it's worth noting that Bobby said, was telling them about the evidence that they found in regards to Briggs living behind the note. And he said that happened today. But we've actually kind of seen sequences where after they found that information, we've also seen Bobby at night stopping the kid with the gun.
Yeah.
So I'm really confused about the chronology.
Well, there was one I picked up on, which is the episode 13 starts with that really bizarre musical number. As the Mitchum brothers come in with Dougie, and they've got the gifts for Bushnell, and they come in and they're dancing like, oh cool, the Mitchums, I'm fine with this because they're like my favourite characters in the new series. This is great.
Yeah, dude, the Mitchums are way up my list, but yeah.
But yeah, they come in and Coop is there, and he's what Janie's like, oh, Dougie didn't come home last night. I'm so worried about him. And she's like, oh, this is why he didn't come home, because you're with the Mitchums. Like, but last week we saw him playing with the
yes, this is another inconsistency, and I've got that sort of tag for later. It is, and apparently some people have been saying, I saw a quote bandied around from David Lynch that said something along the lines of, so I'm probably misquoting, that he doesn't mind if people watch it out of order, and apparently he said, sometimes movie reels get put on in the wrong order and you get scene 3 before scene 2, and sometimes that can add to the experience of trying to decipher it. He said people will decipher it either way. So a lot of people are saying that perhaps there is a kind of a meta order to the episodes, that apparently when we've seen them all, perhaps they can be arranged in such a fashion that they actually make more chronological sense.
Maybe, but that's a
maybe
weird way to look at it. It's like sometimes it adds to the experience, or it completely ruins a movie.
Well, yeah. The reason I saw that quote this week is, did you hear what happened with Sky Germany?
No.
Okay, so Sky in Germany aired episode 14 instead of episode 13.
What?
Yes, and this is within a week of the both the HBO hack and the fact that Star India accidentally released an episode of Game of Thrones early.
Oh, God.
So until now, they'd been doing quite a good job of keeping Twin Peaks stuff under wraps. And even in this instance, although Sky showed the wrong episode, they quickly changed it so that, like on-demand services and stuff, you could only get the true episode 12.
Yeah.
Or 13, whatever it is, the most recent one. But some people saw it, and apparently they came onto the subreddit to talk about it, and they saw everyone else talking about a completely different episode.
What's happened?
Yeah, and even then, people have been very good with spoilers. A couple of people have kind of left spoilers and kind of screenshots from the show, but they were all removed before I even got there on the subreddit.
Cool.
And there's no copies of it floating online. People are touting that they have it online, but they're actually kind of trying to push viruses and stuff on you. There isn't actually no legit leak, so no one was recording it.
Good.
Yes, it's good because as we did with episode 8 and with episodes 1 and 2, if you watch them and then have to wait 2 weeks instead of 1 week, it's torture.
Yeah, just a tad. Especially after episode 8.
Yeah.
What's so much happened?
The problem I have nowadays is because people, with Game of Thrones, this was episode 4 of season 7. I succumbed. I went and found my little copy and watched it, and then got rid of it and never did anything illegal again. And I did that because I did not want to be spoiled.
No, I can understand that.
And I know that lots of people would then, watch it and wreak havoc on people because, Snape killed Dumbledore. Everybody loves to spoil things for other people, especially on the internet, especially kind of juvenile people.
Because they know that I can't punch them in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless I know who they are.
Well, you know who I am, so I made sure I didn't spoil anything, but I wouldn't have done that anyway, because I know what it's like.
It's the worst.
It is. And I enjoyed watching Game of Thrones again yesterday in proper HD. So,
very good episode. Really fucking good.
Yeah, still can't tell who knocked him off his horse at the end.
Oh,
I think it's Bronn.
I'm pretty sure it was Bronn. But the thing that was so interesting about that fight in particular is that I'm pretty sure it's one of the few times where you've really cared about people on both sides.
It is. That was one of the things I said on Facebook, is just I didn't know who to root for. I was rooting for everyone.
Because during the attack on Castle Black, you've not really known Tormund that long. You've not really known. You got to know the wildlings a bit with Jon Snow, but you still see at that point see them as the enemy.
And you can see that there's division even there. Jon Snow keeps himself a certain distance from them.
Yeah.
As proven by the fact that eventually, he runs away from them.
Exactly, and so there's that element. But in this, you knew that both sides really wanted to kill each other, and that made it far worse. Because I was thinking, please don't let Bronn die. I really like Bronn. And then I was convinced that Jaime was going to get torched to buggery.
Yeah, and even that Dickon guy, I was like, no, I don't want him to die either.
It was good. It was really well handled. Still a lot of teleporting though. They got there quick.
Yes, a shit ton of teleporting.
The dragons carry them.
Dragons are OP as well, by the way.
Yeah, because I'm staying in Reading this week, and I was watching my girlfriend and the family. And my girlfriend's sitting there, and she's watching the dragon do its business, and she went, "I don't think that's very honourable." It's not really fair, is it?
Roasting alive in their armour.
Yeah, I'm like, she's like torching innocent people, man.
Yeah, and what's worse, she was torching a hell of a fuck ton of grain that she actually needed, which I didn't understand as well. She was kind of going for scorched earth.
Yeah, and then I'm like,
policy.
I'm like, no, you all lose.
The other thing, well, without getting into a fucking Game of Thrones class,
Because it was bad.
the other thing,
No,
yeah, the other thing that they did that really confused me is there is a line in there where Sam's dad comes up and says the gold is safely in King's Landing.
I heard
It's
that.
through the gates. I missed that the first time through. So the whole time I'm sitting there going, whoa, she's burning their gold. They're not going to be able to pay the Iron Bank. And then I watched it again and I heard that line and I was like, oh, okay, it's not as cool.
Yeah, because then you're like...
I thought she was going to sting them financially.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh, they can't pay off the Iron Bank. Oh, shit.
Yeah, what's that going to mean? Oh my god. But it's like, she just burned a load of food she could use.
Yeah, and then got a dragon shot in the wing. It's like, hey, that guy just fired a huge arrow, man, with a ballista. I'm just going to fly right in.
Yeah, flying right
Robson, no! Is it Robson or Joe? I can't remember which one he is.
I can't remember what...
Soldier,
I
Soldier.
never watched it, but yeah, I always think Soldier when I see him, and that's... I was a kid when that was on TV.
I know he's awesome as brother. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Let's get back to Twin Peaks.
No, I do have to. No, I'm joking.
So where were we? Yeah, we don't have to talk about the pie scene. Basically, a lot of people are saying it's kind of a metatextual talk about how big companies can ruin something. By saying, oh well, we made it how you told us to make it, and we used our ingredients, and he's like, no, you've got to make it with love.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was thinking about it.
If it is, it's a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah, and it's like, see, David, we test audiences, so like, no, we gotta do it my way. I don't care if I don't get any reviews or views or whatever, fucking viewership, I think maybe it was maybe something along those lines as well.
Well, it's interesting given that moment where he walked away from the project, because potentially of meddling and not being able to get the kind of budget that he needed to film 10-minute scenes that go on forever.
Yeah, it's like, I want Coop to be a retard for the entire show. You want what? Like, no, I can't say that now. Mentally challenged.
Have you heard of one saliva bubble?
No.
Okay. Neither had I until this week. Apparently, One Saliva Bubble is a screenplay that David Lynch and Mark Frost wrote before they wrote Twin Peaks, and apparently a lot of the plot points are showing up in Twin Peaks. God. So apparently it kind of seems like maybe David Lynch decided, I could get a big-ass budget and just make this thing I wanted to make.
Oh, you guys want Twin Peaks? Fuck you.
And I just put I just applied these character kind of archetypes to Twin Peaks characters, and we're good to go.
It's just like this weird show, this even stranger show, and it's just wearing Twin Peaks skin.
Yeah.
It's like, no, see, that's
I
what
love
it really
Lynch
is.
And I love Frost and I love Twin Peaks and I even love this season. But I'm kind of poking fun at it a bit at this point because...
Yeah, it's getting more like that for me as well. I'm just like, can we just... I'm just because I'm getting in... I think I've accepted the fact that... okay, one of two things is going to happen. We're not getting Coop back. Ever.
I think we will, but I think it'll be very late on.
Or he'll come back and it'll be right at the end for the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting.
And it'll just make me want. It'll leave me wanting more. But because I was thinking about this, I know we haven't got through both episodes yet, but I was really thinking about this after episode 12 last week. During the week, I was really thinking about this, like the fact we didn't do the cast really kind of let me reflect on it even more throughout the week. And I was just thinking, season 1 and 2, despite 2 having a lot of problems, midway through after they resolved the killer and all that.
Yeah,
I could rewatch it a lot because it's still funny. The amount of times I've watched the pilot at the Twin Peaks Festival, the amount of times I've watched the episode when Renette has the dream about Bob killing Laura and he screams at the end and it's all terrifying. I've watched that lots of times. I've watched so many episodes I can rewatch. And I was thinking about this season and I was just thinking, how many episodes would I actually cut off my way to rewatch? Number 8. Number 8 I would.
It's a good question. Number 8, I think for me, the one, I guess it must be episode 11. It's the one with the Mitchum brothers having the dream and the cherry pie.
Yeah.
To me, that whole section just gives me the warm fuzzies. I've watched it on YouTube like a dozen times.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, there are episodes I would rewatch,
but they are few and far between because it's kind of amorphous and hard to remember exactly what happened in which episode.
Yeah, because it's also fractured.
It's designed to be just one thing that's apparently split up into 18 pieces.
I mean, maybe hopefully it'll get to the end, and once it gets to the end and it resolves some of the plot points, not all of them, but some of them, please.
Yeah.
It might get to resolve something and I think, oh, okay, and then rewatch it back and go, actually, it's not too bad. But yeah, there's a lot I think I would skip. Like, don't care.
Well, it's a good point now to talk about something that I read this week as well, which was apparently there was an interview with either the CEO or the some kind of director at Showtime, which is the company that it streams in the US. Twin Peaks, they put up the budget for this return series, talking about the fact that what was funny about this article in particular is that some people were posting it saying, guys, there's no chance of a season 4, this article proves it, and other people posting, hey guys, there might be a chance of a season 4, this article proves it. Yeah, exactly. The article basically, the spokesman said that until episode 18 has completely aired and everything is finished and done, they're going to let that happen before they have any kind of sit down talk with David Lynch about whether there will be a season 4.
Okay, that's fair.
Which I think is the right thing to do. And lots of people, on the subreddit have kind of, in good faith, they do things like we need to show Showtime that we love this show. So they're the kind of people who have gone, I've paid for a subscription, I will do until they make another one, or they say they won't. Yeah. So things like that, kind of people trying to show force of kind of like magnitude, how many people want the show.
That's good.
Which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I know people would probably have a problem with that. Oh, well, if you got to wait until the end, blah, 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 blah. But it's good because they have to, no, we'll wait and see. If
apparently,
it's financially
David
beneficial.
Lynch, yeah, exactly. It may not be for them.
Exactly.
And that's fine. I understand that as a choice. But David Lynch, apparently the only thing he's been on record saying in terms of a season 4 is that it's not off the table. So those are literally his words. So we will find out. But from what that alone tells me is that I think by the end of, and here I go, prediction time. I'm going to get these all wrong. I think by the end of the season, we may have some closure in regards to the case of Laura Palmer. But Blue Rose will still be a thing and still going on.
Oh, yeah.
As well as the kind of the FBI team, Tammy, Cole. If they do another one, obviously, unfortunately, they'll have to write out Albert. But, that kind of group will carry on and there will be kind of like Black Lodge, White Lodge things going on. So in terms of closure, I don't think... If the possibility of a season 4 is out there, we're not going to get as much closure as I think people thought we were going to get with this season.
No, I can see it.
And I think that's becoming more apparent with each episode and the kind of leisurely pace that it's kind of taking its time.
Fucking Dougie.
I love Dougie. I'm still firmly in the I love Dougie. The only problem with having Dougie scenes is that they mean there are less Dale Cooper scenes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he was still acting somewhat like Dale Cooper for the first 2 episodes.
Yes, he was, yes. Some people, again, as we've spoken before, arguing that those scenes come later, that they are in fact flash forwards, not flashbacks.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, we will see. I mean, the main argument they used was that it was black and white, which was... episode 8 was black and white, and that was set in the past. The past scenes were in black and white. So that's the most convincing thing I've seen for it.
Yeah.
I guess we shall see.
Yes.
But let's crank through.
Yes,
so we talked about Big Ed burning the piece of paper on his own. So let's talk about Sarah Palmer.
Yeah, so she was actually
Sarah Palmer. Oh, sorry.
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, despite very not strongly disliking episode 12, she was one of the standout moments.
Yes, I think so. The reason why I've got her low down on the list is just because I think it's a still brewing thing. We're not getting so many kind of reveals, more as kind of like just being painted a picture of where she is and has been since the events of 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is a miserable place.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame her.
So we're talking about the scene, first of all, where she has a kind of rather unsettling experience in the grocery store. She's loading up on fags and booze.
So much booze.
And she's got all the ingredients for a Bloody Mary, I think, and that's literally it, and cigarettes. But I find it interesting that she mentions the meat, and the reason why this struck out to me, that she was talking about the jerky, is when we've seen her before this season, it was where she was watching a scene of animals getting devoured by other animals. And there's this whole kind of weird carnivore-esque kind of like... I just want to say the word meaty. It's just... There's something about her and the experience she's having this season so far. She's watching... For instance, in episode 13, she's watching a boxing match, that's or wrestling thing, whatever it is. But it keeps looping, So it's kind of like she exists in this weird realm of kind of like carnivorous, kind of like almost like lust and aggression, like things that you associate with Bob, or at least I do.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it feels to me, because I mean, afterwards, obviously, Hawk checks on her at a house where he hears a sound, and we also see that the fan is running,
ceiling fan,
which is synonymous or tied into Bob and his kind of his appearances, with Leland and everything that happened back there. So it's rather interesting. If I feel like she lives in a house that's kind of like haunted by the ghost of Bob, not physically, literally, but more kind of like she is trapped in this kind of echo of the past things that happened. And I mean, I think that's kind of clear by the way that she's trying to kill herself. She basically drinks alcohol and smokes cigarettes and doesn't eat anything all day.
And she acted really very strange. Like, she was acting strange anyway in the supermarket. But when Hawk came around, it wasn't even acting like she was previously. She was acting kind of not suspicious, but it's weird. Like, she was too calm. It's like, no, it's fine.
It's strange.
Everything's fine. What was that noise? It's fine. That was really unsettling. I loved it. It's like, I miss this.
Yeah, I love what they're doing. They're kind of painting a scene of what she's been up to since, and it is a miserable place. But I feel like it's going to be important going forward. I feel like the fact that the fan is still going in her house is really important.
Seeing fan, I think yes. Maybe she's just like sleepwalking through life, and Galaxy of Terror is actually like some kind of fever dream that she's having. As that's what it was. That's what the meat means. She's like, no, because of the meaty things that latch onto the guy.
Plug. Episode 15 of Spoilers of the Damned.
It's such
Galaxy of Terror.
It's such a good movie. Said no one ever.
That episode will probably go up straight after this one. So if you're listening to this one on the feed, it's the next one. So just go ahead and find the movie on YouTube and then listen to the podcast.
Best movie ever.
It's a very long podcast.
It's such a good movie.
I'm still editing it.
5 stars.
It was a movie. It was a thing. It was a thing that was made.
It was a thing that was made in the 80s by Roger Corman. Yes. And if any of you listening know who Roger Corman is, then you know what to expect.
Yes, well, we knew what to expect, and we were still kind of pleasantly surprised.
I'm still so sorry.
No, it's fine. And it was cool to see Sarah Palmer in something that wasn't Twin Peaks. So yeah, that's what's happening with Sarah Palmer at the moment. Moving on, I put this scene in here because I just kind of liked it. Frank Truman visits Ben Horn and obviously notifies him that his grandson Richard is the one that killed that boy in the hit and run. Everyone seems to know which boy he's talking about, so I gather, despite the fact that the town's kind of youth are crazy and drug riddled. The death of a kid still kind of stands out, which is nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's not nice, but you know what I mean. It's nice that it stands out. It means there's not that many boys being killed.
Yeah, some of them are human.
Yeah. So and apparently he tried to kill the only witness as well, Miriam. So either, the fact that she made it to people and then she was able to tell them, or maybe it was the fact that Chad got the wrong letter. We don't know, but either way, Frank knows about it.
Yeah.
And while they're talking, Ben gives Frank the key to room 315 as a memento for Harry, and also agrees to pay for Miriam's medical costs.
Good guy, Ben.
Yeah, good guy, Ben. He goes on about a fucking bike.
I really like that bike.
Yeah, because obviously the thing he's pointing to is the fact that Richard didn't really have a father. And he makes his secretary cry talking about a bike. So yeah, that was just a nice little scene. I've heard some people say, because obviously the actor who played Harry Truman, for one reason or another, supposedly didn't make it into the production.
Yeah, I think he...
and that was the reason why Frank Truman exists as a character instead of Harry, because they were originally supposed to be Harry scenes.
Yeah, I think he turned it down.
Some people say he turned it down. Some people say he was very excited about doing it, but then had to stop because of some kind of family commitment, or other people cite his health. I mean, apparently he was searching for the kind of like jumpery jacket thing that he used to wear.
Yeah, I heard that.
So a lot of people kind of say, well, if he was searching for that, why did he back out? Other people saying that he did back out because he couldn't make it for some reason, whatever that reason was. But some people are speculating that perhaps if Frank gives Harry the key, some people are saying because the key is Dougie / Dale Cooper's key, and he currently exudes all kind of like good vibes and happiness, that apparently if Harry gets this key, it might make him feel better and he might show up by the end.
Cure his cancer.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the problem with that is that I want to believe.
Yeah, I want to believe. I think it would be a bit too schmaltzy.
It would be, but at the same time, I would just love to see Harry Truman. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll put a pin in that. It's probably not going to amount to anything, but I did like that kind of take on the scene that perhaps he managed to come back for one or two scenes at the end of production. Likewise, we're still holding out for Philip Jeffries as well. We will see Philip. I have no doubt we will see Philip Jeffries in some form.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that obviously it was David Bowie before he passed away.
Yeah, they just kept him sleeping, or someone just doing a terrible Bowie impression. Got to kill Mr. C. Something like that.
Don't get me started. I was at work today and I put on the 3-disc edition of Nothing Has Changed, which is David Bowie's 2014 best of. I sat there listening to David Bowie for 3 hours and it was great. And then I put on Black Star and listened to that as well, and kind of had my melancholy at the end of the last track because I'm like, wow, that's the last song he ever recorded.
And
that's really sad.
That last song really hits you as well. Yeah.
It does, because he's like, I can't give everything away, and you're like, oh,
you
man.
Dead, David, you're dead.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. So, like, right now I'm on a major Bowie binge. Bowie binge. So, if I could have one person be able to come back that hasn't been announced on the cast list, it would be David Bowie. So
he can do his weird southern accent again.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
We live in a dream.
Right, so where were we? Okay, so I've put all of the FBI Blue Rose stuff here. So Gordon and Albert recruit Tammy officially into the Blue Rose investigation squad.
She continues to act like a fucking cyborg.
Yes.
Happiness mode initiated.
They kind of... they didn't really reveal anything that we didn't already know. They more just kind of framed things that we did or had guessed. So basically, the Blue Rose team consisted of everyone we've currently seen investigate the Blue Roses.
Thanks, Cole. We figured that out.
Yeah, thanks for that. I found it interesting the way their room was made up that they were in,
the red carpet.
which was very Black Lodge-esque. Yes. And obviously, immediately after that, they deputized Diane to also become sort of like an honorary member of the squad.
Yeah.
And the way they summon her, she comes through the curtains. It's very Lodge-esque. They're definitely drawing parallels there. And then of course, you and I both got our prediction wrong as to who would say "Let's rock." It was in fact Diane, who said it in a very kind of like specific and strange way.
Really, really strange.
So it's very curious as to what's going on there.
I'm certain that they've only deputised her because they know that she's talking to Mr. C.
Yes, I think they kind of hinted. I can't remember whether it was in the scene before or whether it was the scene with the French lady, but and we'll get on to that scene next. But they basically kind of say we have to keep her close, you know. Maybe it was the episode before, but Cole said something along the lines, we're going to have to keep her close. Excuse me. So I imagine that's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Albert interrupts Gordon and his French lady friend, which I've seen people. I'm glad there are more people on the subreddit doing this. I saw a huge like treaty, maybe like 2,000 words, where someone had written that this person was a lodge spirit. They'd decided, okay?
What?
Yeah, and that apparently she was giving clues in her mannerisms and the way she was moving her body, what she was wearing, the way she kind of pauses to kind of... and he was like, she puts her hand on her breast, which means mother. And I was like, fuck's sake. Yeah. So I scroll down this thing and the top rated comment is, sometimes a golden shovel is a golden shovel.
Yeah, like...
It's like, sometimes it's it's a cigar is a cigar. It's...
Yeah, she's just a high-end escort.
Yeah,
he's paying
strange
to talk to her.
This whole season seems a bit like kind of Cole fan fiction, like David's just kind of swagging his ego around the place, like, oh yeah, Gordon Cole can pull really attractive like French ladies, and he drinks wine and he has all the answers.
Yeah. Like that seems really weird to me. The whole thing, that doesn't feel like Gordon Cole. It's like, it's like there's no way he just old man Cole managed to get that. Like, she's obviously some kind of escort.
Yeah,
which made it even worse.
And I've seen people. Oh God, the threads I've seen in regards to what the turnip means or the turnip farm. That joke that's just a throw-in joke.
Oh, kill me.
Yeah, and I mean, I've even seen people say, you know the part where he says, what kind of Bordeaux? Because he says, I'm going to enjoy this fine Bordeaux. And Albert says, what kind? And he goes, 1105. Which made me burst out laughing.
And Albert just stands there staring at him.
Yeah, I saw a thread where someone said, okay, so basically... Cole and Albert know they're being listened to, so they have to speak in code. So they use these kind of malapropisms where Gordon mishears Albert, so a kind of real covert way that they can give each other information. Apparently, 1105, he said, like, what code book exists in every hotel? That's right, the Bible. So he goes, Revelations 1105 or something, right? Apparently, Revelations 1105 is actually a quote that apparently Major Briggs said in one of the episodes in season 2.
Okay.
So people were kind of like going, oh my God, because they, connections. And I love this guy who posted. There was this guy further down the comments who just posted, yes, Revelations 1105 says this, but let's look at Leviticus 1105, and then let's look at Psalms 1105 or whatever, and like going through all the books of the Bible, and like the paragraphs just become less and less relevant. And he's like, sometimes
the golden shovel is just a golden shovel.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you're really reaching. These people, those are the people. It's their fault that we've got films like Alien Covenant. It's their fault.
Yeah, because everything has to be, 100% explained.
Yeah. Oh, who created the aliens? That's not the important thing. But it is. Exactly. I wonder. No, because as soon as you explain who created them or why they were created, they become less interesting. As soon as you find out that Michael Fassbender, who did all the fingering, is the one that created the aliens, it's less interesting because then they were manufactured, and that's...
Manufactured.
It's like, they might as well just say, the Umbrella Corporation. No, that's boring. Fucking Michael Fassbender. Stop writing movies I like.
Isn't he in the new Blade Runner?
Michael Fassbender? No, it's Ryan Gosling.
Oh, that's it, yeah. Sorry.
Big Dave Bautista's in it, so it's going to be great. It's got a wrestler. Drax the Destroyer is going to kill him.
By the way, I was going to mention this. I'm not up on wrestling that much, but I gather you are.
Yes.
Have you been seeing these parodies that they've been doing of Twin Peaks?
Yes, it's a tag team called the Fashion. They were called the Fashion Police, and they've been doing these vignettes for a while where they keep parodying like different types of cop dramas and stuff. And it started initially where they were just like backstage, just having a laugh basically. And they even like both called out freeze frames. They went to give themselves a high five, and it just like they just lingered on it for like 10 seconds as they just stood there frozen.
Nice.
Like trying not to move. I've seen the first Twin Peaks one, which was really funny.
Yeah, I think that's the one I watched. Is the one where he's kind of looking at the corkboard. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he says like, I can't remember what it is. He keeps like as they're all dancing around and stuff. He keeps calling something else. He's like, not too many metaphors. No more metaphors. I haven't seen this week's one, but apparently, Fandango, the man that's missing, turns up in an oversized blazer with a tie around his head, and Tyler Breeze turns around and says, "Please don't tell me it's going to take 18 episodes to fix you." Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Nice.
So yeah,
I did notice that. That was kind of fun.
I was like, yeah, that's great. But yeah,
it's
cool.
Culturally relevant again.
Yeah, it's weird.
Know?
It's weird. It's really weird. But they're not the only ones that have really like done any kind of parody of it. But what's cool is that it's wrestling, so it's cheesy, but it is genuinely funny. And sometimes that company struggles to make stuff that's actually funny. But also when watching it, you can tell it's been written by someone that actually understands the show and has made little subtle funny jokes.
Yeah, it's not just someone who doesn't know the show kind of going aping the things that they've heard or the kind of the stereotypical scenes or whatever. It's like someone who's actually watching it.
Yeah, it's like I get the joke. Like when he was looking for Fandango last week, it had a picture of him missing for 25 years. There's a female wrestler called she's Irish actually called Becky Lynch, and they had a picture of her on the dartboard and then her name and then just like I think in brackets an exclamation mark and a question mark like Lynch. It's like, cool, this is someone who actually understands it. They know who David Lynch is. They understand what makes it funny. They had Fandango turn up in a red suit dancing like the man from another place. They had a log. And then they had one of the Ascension pouring maple syrup on the log.
Yes, I remember that bit. I did watch the first one. I remember that bit now.
It's so terrible, but it's supposed to be, and it's just really funny. But the best line is just still, "Please tell me it's not going to take 18 episodes to fix you."
Yeah, I need to watch that second one.
Oh, brilliant! That's how I feel.
Yes, I like how this is developing.
Hope they keep doing it.
Yeah. Okay. So, getting back on topic.
Yes.
They mention or they talk about the text messages that Diane has been receiving and giving.
Yes.
About Las Vegas, and Cole says, "What do we know about Las Vegas?" I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along those lines. So I thought at first that they would have responded to the hit on Dougie's fingerprints.
Yes, well,
but as we saw this week, the Fusco, I believe they're Fusco brothers, the detectives, the guy with the incredible laugh. I love that guy.
Oh, Mr. C to punch him through the face.
Twin Peaks festival people, you need to book him next year.
Oh,
it's great.
Starts laughing, I'm just going to just rush the stage. Like, stop laughing!
He's great. But they managed to kind of spectacularly drop the ball and throw the fingerprints in the bin.
Yeah, it's like, well, thanks for that. Thanks for wasting my time.
Exactly. It's kind of like, it's lynched. You've had a little kind of red herring dangled in front of you and then it's just get thrown away.
Yeah. It's like your dad you're like 5 years old and your dad brings down a PlayStation. It's like, look what I got you. Psych, there's nothing in there. Go and play with your box.
Dad, I'll never forgive you. Diane is in the bar and she's texting with Mr. C, and she also manages to remember through, I guess, some kind of memory thing that she used to recall the coordinates that were on Ruth Davenport's arm. And she, obviously comes to the conclusion that they kind of center on Twin Peaks. Possibly the location of Jack Rabbit Palace. We don't know.
Yeah, or the entrance to the lodge.
Yes, yeah. What is
Which
that
could
called?
be the same place.
Glastonbury Grove?
Yeah, it could be the same bloody place for all we know.
Yeah, for all we know, it could be. But hopefully, seeing as, all of that happened today, we're going to find out when we see tomorrow.
I fucking hope so.
Right, let's speed on through this because it's almost an hour and we're in the middle of the week. We've got to eat. Well, I've got to eat. So, like you mentioned earlier, Cooper and Sonny Jim playing catch, that one kind of throwaway scene. I guess maybe David just put it in there because there was nowhere else for it to go.
Oh no, there's no Kyle.
It's so weird how it breaks the kind of the chain of being with the Mitchum brothers to the morning after being with the Mitchum brothers.
Yeah, weird. Really weird.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter. They can just piece it together themselves.
Exactly. So the Mitchum brothers thank Dougie and Bushnell with gifts. You get a car. You get a car. I do like the kind of the subtle joke there that when they turn up with the gym, that obviously they must have said to him, "What's your son called?" Or Sonny Jim, and basically like son needs Jim or Jim. Like he would have repeated the thing, so they go, "Oh, we'll buy your son a gym," And obviously, Janie is very happy with a new car. Yeah. Well, yeah, she's kind of like, she won't question Dougie's kind of like strange state that he's in at the moment because all this good stuff's happening. So
yeah, I'm like, you materialistic fuckweasel. This is just me, but the ribbon on the car? Did that look weird to you? I looked like part of it wasn't there.
Not that I recall.
Like the actual the bow looked okay, but it was the part that was wrapped around it just looked like it was fake to me. I don't know if it was the lighting.
Maybe that's strange because it's probably easier to actually use a real ribbon all the way around than it is to fake it.
It must have been the lighting, but I was just looking at it thinking something looks off. What it looks off? It's like my brain was going, "There's something not right with that." I don't know. Maybe that maybe. I hope not.
If you recall back to the scene where Dougie was being driven through Las Vegas and was looking at the kind of the buildings outside, there was kind of this soft zoom effect on the soft blur effect on some of the buildings.
Yeah.
And people were going, "Oh, this means Dougie lives in a fantasy world. He's like in a construction of a world." And then people were like, "No, that's just the way the cameras. If you're like moving, digital video, it kind of like makes this blurring effect."
And no, it all means something. Oh, it's like the plane. Secret messages.
Oh God, the plane. I believe I'm not entirely sure, but the plane might even have been like footage that they got from somewhere. Not even they didn't even like actually film a plane. They just got some footage or something.
Play the song.
Who knows?
No, it's musical notes for a plane.
Oh boy. So Anthony Sinclair, Tom Sizemore's character, is ordered by Duncan Todd to kill Dougie. He obtains poison from a corrupt policeman who appears to be part of the hustle they've been doing with insurance fraud. And he puts it into Dougie's coffee. I love this scene because it's just so stupid.
It really is.
Dougie goes off to get cherry pie because the man knows what he likes. And he comes back, he sees the dandruff, so he starts poking the dandruff. And I'm even saying these words. This is a thing that was shot. It exists.
And then doesn't that give Anthony an epiphany? He's like, "I can't do it. I'm sorry, Dougie."
Yeah, he's like, spontaneous back rub. I suddenly feel empathy.
Oh, Dougie, I'm sorry.
Apparently, I didn't hear it the first time through, but I'm gonna watch the episode again this week anyway. But someone said that apparently, when he runs into the toilet and throws the coffee into the urinal, the guy who's in there says, "That bad, huh?"
Yeah, he does. But what does he throw into the urinal?
This is like it's almost kind of like Laurel and Hardy, kind of like Charlie Chaplin-esque kind of almost. It's what's the word I'm looking for? I can't believe I'm blanking on the word. It begins with S. It's about
Slapstick.
Slapstick. Yes. Well, why can't I remember that? Fuck's sake. Don't get old, Matt. Seriously, it's fucking awful. I'm 30 years old, and my brain is just fizzing.
It's got a couple of weeks before it all ends.
Oh, in more ways than one, because we're only a couple of weeks away from the end of this fucking season.
Yes, we are, actually.
Yeah, that's a bit scary.
The week after my birthday. Bloody hell.
There you go.
Good lord. It's either going to be a really good birthday present or a shit one.
Oh, you have the End of Thrones for your birthday. That's cool.
Yes, I do, actually. I get to watch After LARP while I'm laying there going, "Ugh!" So...
That's nice. Well, it's good.
Dead.
You should save up TV for when you're kind of like in recovery phase.
Oh, that's great, because I've got Game of Thrones finale. Actually, no, because that's the day of the Monday event, so I won't be able to watch that until Tuesday. And then Tuesday evening,
you have it ready for you.
I'm off to the cinema to see Terminator 2. So,
oh, nice.
That'll be good. The day before my birthday, so that's like that's gonna be really cool. I've never actually seen it on the big screen, so that's gonna be quite the experience. And I'm going to be dead, so it's going to be great. So
it's okay. There is a brain fizzing period. I'm currently in it, so you're fine for a while after. Let's get back on topic. So he confesses to Bushnell, which is I love how Dougie seems so standoffish and kind of harsh in this scene.
Yeah, it was like angry dog. Angry Coop.
Yeah, it's. I can't remember what he's. I want to say it's repent, but it's not repent. He said he repeats something that Anthony says. I think it's something like forgiveness or something like. Oh no! He has to say confess. Confess. That's it. Confess.
Yeah.
God, the brain fizzing is bad today. So he says, "I need to confess," and Dougie goes, "Confess."
I'm like, oh my god, I'm sorry, Dougie.
My wife has just texted me from downstairs. He says, "Confess." Thank you. She's written, he says, "Confess," and then the next text is the word "con" and the word "fess," because that's how Dougie says it. Confess.
It's true.
Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you, Diane.
Yeah. My random text coming through. So, yes, and obviously Bushnell says you're going to have to turn informant, which he reluctantly agrees. So, looks like that's the way this plot is going.
Yeah.
How the assassins are going to fit into it, I'm not sure. Because the assassins seem to be converging on Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas is where the other people are going to want Dougie and now Anthony dead if they're kind of like shedding the the spotlight on their criminal mastermind endeavor things. Oh god, the brain fizz is bad today.
It's good. Yeah, because Coop's going to be okay because he's got the Mitchums. They ain't going to
Yes,
nothing
exactly.
bad happen to him.
I really hope nothing bad happens to them as well, even though they are fucking crooks.
They're cool.
You know, the first time you see them, they turn up and they beat that guy half to death.
Yeah, but they're really likeable.
They are really likable.
I really like them.
The reason I get that kind of Laurel and Hardy vibe is because of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hope we see more Mitchums. I love the Mitchums. Okay, that's pretty much all of the Las Vegas stuff. Shut up. So now we are going to move on to the main event, which I believe is the most kind of narratively significant and interesting kind of like piece that we had, and that was in the most recent episode. You touched on it earlier. Cooper's doppelganger,
Yes.
Mr. C. He arrives at a building in Montana where Ray and a gang, which we see Richard Horn is amongst them, are kind of lying in wait for him. So the doppelganger defeats the gang boss in an arm wrestling match. So now's the time to kind of get that off your chest.
Yeah, that was... So... It's not so much that, I mean, because obviously it's like, oh my god, he's strong, but then he punches him once and kind of like caves the guy's skull in. and kills
I
him.
thought that was a bit much. Cause,
Yeah. And
he punches the guy, and Kina said, "Is he dead?" And I said, "Nah, he's not dead." And then it cut to his head, and it was like caved in. I was like, "Okay, yeah, he dead."
And I'm like, but is it just the doppelgangers that are this strong? Why are they that strong? I don't remember. I know Bob killed people when he was inhabiting the bodies of people, inhabiting like Leland, but he wasn't so strong that he punched Maddie multiple times and their face didn't like collapse.
Yeah.
He to kill her. He rammed her skull into the wall, which would kill someone because it would fracture their skull.
Just because you're a bad dude doesn't mean that you have physical strength. Like surely in a world of physical reality, you need to have the actual muscle to be able to produce that kind of strength.
Yeah, it was just weird. I'm all for him being like a bit of a badass, like they showed in the start of the season. But I wasn't like, I don't need him to be like fucking Bane. Like, I'm going to crush you now. I don't need to. It's just weird. Just really weird. I liked the scene as a whole, but it was just that thing. I was like, really? Mr. C, I've literally just do that, really?
Yeah, I've literally just had something hit me. I've literally just put two pieces together, potentially, of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. So freeform here, going off brain fizz. What if Bob has been taken out of the doppelganger, right? Yes. So Bob has been retrieved by the woodsman. Perhaps he's been retrieved from the woodsman because Bob can now return in some form somehow if there is another season. But that sets this season up as Mr. C being the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Because now he's on his own. That makes sense, right?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Okay. I just thought of a thing.
Because he made that whole point when he was in prison, he looks in the mirror and his face starts to walk into Bob and he says, good, you're still with me.
I'm thinking maybe the narrative reason for removing him from the doppelganger is so that the showdown can be just specifically the doppelganger and not Bob.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised now if we don't see Bob again.
No, I mean, I think it might mean that Mr. C is not going to have any more supernatural help.
Well, yeah, apart from Brad Muscles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the woodsmen are going to particularly help him because they got Bob, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, in fact, Bob might not be very happy with the situation if they kind of enter into the lodge in any kind of capacity. Perhaps the doppelganger has got a reckoning coming in terms of the lodges because he's disobeyed the rules and kind of cheated the system. That gets us nicely onto the fact that he kills the boss and becomes the boss and immediately clears the room out after getting the cell phones. He loves cell phones.
He really does.
He's talking to Ray. Ray reveals that the doppelganger's death has been ordered by Philip Jeffries. So we get a full 100% confirmation Philip Jeffries is a major player in this season, and he's behind a lot of the orchestration against Mr. C.
Which is awesome.
Yes, so that's what bumped this kind of to the top of the pile for me. It's just because that's a major revelation. Well, it's something we've thought based on who we've heard people talking to, but it's nice to get it all kind of like laid out. And he surrenders the coordinates, which are presumably, because they're the coordinates that Major Briggs wanted, which are the ones that Ruth gave to him. So presumably they are the same coordinates that were on Ruth's arm, so they are the coordinates to Twin Peaks. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
The doppelganger forces Ray to put on a Black Lodge ring and then shoots him, which sends him to the Black Lodge, where Mike picks up his ring and puts it on the table. So, again, he was saying that Philip Jeffries told him to put that ring on Mr. C. So clearly the plan was to get Mr. C into the lodge through means of the ring.
Yeah, so Ray almost did it, but he got spooked by the woodsman.
Yeah.
He almost did it. Almost.
So this kind of leads on to whether that's what the ring's purpose has always been, or if in this regard it's being used in that way.
I think it's in this regard, I think.
But potentially, I mean, was Laura wearing it when she died? I can't remember.
Yes, I believe so.
And she has been in the lodge since, or at least how we've experienced time. She's been in the lodge after post-death.
Yeah, it meant that Bob couldn't. I think it meant that Bob couldn't. He couldn't possess her. He couldn't inhabit her.
Yes, we definitely got that sense in Firewalk with Me, didn't we? That she managed to avoid that fate.
Yeah, and it just it only further pissed him off.
But it is another instance of someone dying with the ring on, being kind of taken to that place, whether that place is the Black Lodge or whether it's a waiting room between the lodges.
Yeah.
So we will find out if, we may not find out if that's what the ring definitely does all the time. But the evidence points to it, so that's kind of interesting, kind of the mythos of the ring, because I know it's featured in the Secret History, which I'm currently listening to on the audiobooks. It's not bad so far. It's a bit like kind of a school textbook.
Okay.
So there are kind of bits where they're going. There's a bit right at the start actually where Tamara, is her name Tamara Pierce? Tammy is describing, or she's reading a manuscript that's been written by someone else, and it's kind of hinted that that's Briggs. But it's describing this box in fucking exquisite detail.
Oh, God.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, shut up about the box.
Oh, God, is this Twin Peaks or something written by George R.R. Martin?
Yeah. It's funny you should say that, because incidentally, this week was the first time I gave in. I spent one of my Audible credits on the first Song of Ice and Fire books, which I believe is Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So I tried to start that this week as well while I was at work, and it's meaty. It's going to take a while to get through that.
Yeah, whenever there's any kind of banquet, he just doesn't shut the fuck up. It's like all the food, and like,
Yeah.
oh yes, I know what a banquet looks like, George.
I always said I would never read the books because the show is fine for me, and I don't want to kind of like intrude or change things up. But then I thought, no, I'll give it a chance because I've got the credits, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to get into them.
Well, they're good.
I probably will try to again. It's just maybe work is not the best place to try and do that because I just couldn't. I can listen to Stephen King books all day at work, but this one, it was a bit of a struggle, and the Secret History as well. But I will endeavour to read that book so that by the end of the series, hopefully we'll be able to have a bit of a talk about some of the stuff the book says that also correlates with the show. Okay. And of course, we've got that other book coming at the end of the year.
This is very true.
The Final Dossier. Apparently, it's on sale at the moment. I don't know if that's on UK Amazon or if it's just US specific, but apparently the price has come down. So now's a good time to pre-order it. Yeah, if you want to.
I might have a look.
I will say physically the books are fucking beautiful. So
the first one in particular is really nice.
Yeah, well, they look very much like companion pieces, like they're two halves of one book. So I imagine that the new one is going to be very much like the other one as well. Yeah, so all that remains to be said is that, Let's Rock was said by Diane, and then obviously part 13, the kind of like flavor text for that was "What story is that, Charlie?" Which apparently was said by Audrey.
Yes.
We don't know exactly what's going on with that scene, but we can place our bets for the next episode. So the next episode's flavor text is "We are like the dreamer."
Yeah, like the dreamer.
I repeat again, "We are like the dreamer." I've got my 3 guesses. So do you want some time to think and I go first, or do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. I am going to say I think that it's going to be either Gordon Cole, Log Lady, or I'm going to throw it out there, Sarah Palmer. I think it's going to be like a weird Sarah Palmer thing she says.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good shout.
If you think it's Sarah Palmer, you can choose that as one of your choices as well. That's totally cool.
Well, I was going to go with Gordon because I can see him saying it.
It seems like a kind of Gordon thing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Sarah. Sarah's a good one. Or I was thinking one of the cops. Maybe Hawk. Maybe they'll find something and they'll read it. Or...
No, it's kind of like a Hawk thing as well.
So yeah,
especially if they found a note of some kind and they're reading it, I can hear it in his voice.
Maybe the missing page of the diary because there's still one missing. Ooh. And it's in a chair or something. It's stuck to a tree. There you go.
Well, we shall see. We shall see.
Maybe that's what Big Ed was burning. Ah.
Oh my god!
Why would he be doing that? That makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. He's a bookhouse boy.
He's inhabited by
He's a good
Bob.
old boy. Shit, dude, you cracked it.
He's just inhabiting Big Ed, so he can just eat food at the Double R and just look at Norma really passive aggressively.
Yeah.
Bob's like really. He's like, please just get me out of this to say, Jesus Christ, now I can go and eat some fucking cake or something. Plot twist, I was right.
Well, you heard it here first. So yeah, we'll look forward to episode 14,
Yes.
and we'll meet you back here either for a 14-15 doubleheader, or maybe we will actually do a podcast just on 14. Depends.
Yeah.
We'll see.
As long as it's a good one.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
as Fire though.
Yeah. But I get the feeling from... I'm not going to spoil anything because I don't feel that what I'm about to say is a spoiler. What I heard about episode 14 from these people who apparently saw it in Germany is that some people would not give information about the episode because some stuff went down in that episode, some important stuff, and they didn't want to spoil it. So I don't want to hype the episode, but I'm kind of hyping the episode.
That's interesting. I wonder if we're going to finally get what the fans have been like clawing at for ages, and finally get the Dr. Jacoby and Nadine sex scene. I think everyone's been... Fingers crossed.
Well, what the fuck was he talking about? You dropped something in the supermarket. Was it like a can of beans or something? She said, you dropped it. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Get away from me, you weird. Go back to your shovels.
You gotta dig yourself out of the shit.
Go back to your shovels. You got more to paint.
I feel like I will be returning to his rants on YouTube way after the series is done. But at the moment in the series, they're kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, here's 5 minutes. We're not going to, learn anything new.
Yeah, it's like, you remember when people would always make fun of Twin Peaks and go, it doesn't make any sense. What does it mean? Like, there you go. That's the scene they're making fun of.
Yeah.
No more metaphors.
No more metaphors.
Metaphors.
And we've come full circle because we started with Dr. Amp. So let's finish with Dr. Amp. Until next time, enjoy Twin Peaks, and we shall see you here next time to discuss.
Goodbye.
Maybe 1, maybe 2 episodes. Have fun.
I'm waiting. Bye.
If you like Spoilers of the Damned, don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
Team Wolfcat production.